Hey guys, today I'm gonna explain to you some settings and why you should use them as well. This is my first time doing that, so please forgive me if it's not perfect. Yeah, let's start. So, as you can see, you can decide whether you want the tool to show partial hops or mitigated hops. I think these are kind of obvious. Then you have stock optimization and merge overlapping labels. Stock optimization is crucial if you want to chart anything that's not trading 24/7. So for example, this meta chart, as you can see, I'm using it right here. Yeah, that's just a tool we had to implement because the time frames can be disrupted since yeah, crypto is trading 24/7 and stocks or for example, Forex is not. So yeah, this is something to keep in mind. So only use stock optimization if you're not charting crypto. Yeah. Then the next setting, I think that's kind of interesting. Merge overlapping labels. As you can see, I've turned it off right now for you to see why you should turn it on, because if there's like a cluster of liquidity, these labels can be really hard to read. So if you check the box, it takes a little while. Yeah. So as you can see, now it's way easier to read. You can clearly identify the clusters, and I think it's way better. So with this setting comes a threshold, so you can decide how strictly the labels should be merged. So for example, if I put it to, let's say, 3, it's for me personally too much of the merging. Yeah, even more visible, but it's harder to identify which label corresponds to which liquidity block. So yeah, I like to use lower setting. So I personally always use 0.3 or 0.1 because yeah, it splits it up and it makes it easier for me to identify which label corresponds to which block. Yeah, next setting is the breaker block deviation. I've currently put it to 0.04. Um, if we look at the 2-day partial, for example, the breaker block deviation um, just decides how strict the tool should be regarding the engulfing candle. So for example, if this engulfing candle would be like a little bit outside of the following candle, the tool wouldn't detect it if I've put it to let's say 0. Then it's really strict. It just detects liquidity blocks that are 100% in the following candle, like engulfed by 100%. If I put it to 0.04, the candle can be like deviated by 4%. So yeah, I really like to use it. I've done some backtesting on it, and I think I can catch like, I think every liquidity block with this setting. Sometimes when trading stocks there are gaps or anything like this, and you maybe have to put it to 0.06, but I've not done much backtesting on that. Yeah. Then let's go over to breaker block minimum size percentage. Yeah, that just lets you decide whether you want to include these mini mini hidden order blocks, like for example these ones. If the candle body is too small, some would say or argue that there is no significant liquidity in them, so you can decide whether you want to include it or not. Currently, it calculates it like that. For example, if you take the Bitcoin price, the current Bitcoin price, let's say the current Bitcoin price is at 80K, and the hidden order block or the body size is $200. You just divide $200 by 80,000, and then you get to 0.25. And yeah, that's basically what you can decide here. I personally have it always on 0 because I want to refine my entries and I want to see every liquidity block on my chart. Okay, let's go over to the next setting. That's partial minimum size in FVG percentage. That's also a really nice setting because There's a perfect example right here at roughly 64K with the 1 week partial. Um, you can decide what is a significant partial block for you. So, for example, we have always considered the equilibrium to be significant. So, if the equilibrium wasn't inside the FVG, or at least like 50% of the candle body, we didn't consider it. But now you can decide if you want to include that into your analysis or not. So, yeah, I think that's really nice. The next setting, of course, you can decide which time frames you want to check. You can, of course, uncheck these boxes if you just want to, let's say, analyze the 1 day until the 12th month. You can, of course, change the color of the description labels, the size of the labels. You can decide if you want to show the box border or not, and of course, the colors. Yeah, that's it with the hidden liquidity tool. Let's go over to the supply and demand tool. Supply and demand is like, yeah, basically the same. You have stock optimization, you have merge overlapping labels, breakup block deviation, as you can see, always on 0.04. Breakup block minimum size is at 0. Then we have the kickoff value. That's pretty interesting. As you can see, I've put it on 1.2. I would recommend you using that as well. It basically, yeah, lets you decide. For example, we have here a demand zone, and it lets you decide what is a valid demand for you. For example, this 1 week demand right here, it obviously only marks the equilibrium, so the 50% mark of the demand block in this case, and it lets you decide in which ratio you want to consider the supply zone relevant or significant. So in this case, since I've put it to 1.2, if the following block is larger than 20% than this block or the demand block, it considers it a valid demand zone and will show it on your chart. You can, of course, like click through the settings and find what's best for you or what fits your trading style. I've personally always been using 1.0. Okay, then label overlap threshold, that's the same. I would recommend using 0.3. And I think that's, yeah, I think that's really nice because as you can see, if you're like stretching it a little bit, you can read everything. You can pinpoint the labels, and you know which zone corresponds to which demand block, or which label corresponds to which zone. Yeah, that's the way to put it. You can obviously change the colors. You can decide which settings you want to use or which timeframes you want to include, and you can change the color of the description labels. That's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the little video, and I hope I could clarify some things. And if you wanna see a video of me using these tools in my day-to-day trading, please let me know. And yeah, that's it. Thank you, guys.